The proxy you pick decides whether an account reads as an ordinary person sitting at home or a server humming in a rack. Most of the bans people blame on a platform suddenly getting harsh are really just the wrong proxy type doing exactly what it was always going to do. Residential, mobile, data center, these are not three prices for the same thing. They are three completely different network stories, and each platform has a strong opinion about which story it expects from a normal user. This is how the three actually differ, and how to match one to the job instead of guessing. What a proxy actually does here. Start with what you are really buying. A proxy is not just a way to hide your real IP address. It gives an account its own network identity, an address, a provider, a location, a reputation history. When a platform looks at a login, the IP is one of the first things it reads, and it does not just see a number. It sees who owns that number, what kind of connection it is, and whether that address has behaved like a person or like a problem in the past. So the proxy is not a disguise you put on at the end. It is the account's home address, and it needs to be a believable one. Data center proxies. Data center proxies are addresses owned by hosting companies, the same providers that run websites and cloud servers. They are fast, they are cheap, and they come in huge blocks that all trace back to one commercial owner. That last part is the catch. Platforms can see that an address belongs to a hosting provider rather than a home internet company. And ordinary people do not browse social apps from a server farm. A whole block of these addresses, all owned by one host, all logging into the same kind of account in the same rhythm, is trivially easy to spot and to flag together, cheap and fast, but it wears a uniform. Residential proxies route your connection through real home internet addresses, the kind a normal consumer internet company hands out to a house. To the platform, traffic looks like it is coming from an ordinary home connection, because technically it is. That is a much stronger story than a data center address. The trade-offs are that they cost more, they can be slower, and the quality varies a lot depending on how that pool of home addresses was actually sourced. A clean, ethically sourced residential address behaves like a real household. A shady one may already be burned from someone else's abuse before you ever touch it. Mobile proxies are the top of the tree for account work. These route through real mobile carrier connections, actual SIM cards on a phone network. So the address belongs to a mobile carrier, the same way your phone's data connection does. The magic is not just that it is mobile. It is that mobile networks put thousands of real customers behind the same handful of public addresses at once. So when your account exits through a carrier address, it is standing in a crowd of genuine phone users sharing that exact address. That makes a mobile IP almost impossible for a platform to block without hitting a pile of innocent real customers. The trust ladder. Put those together, and you get a clear ladder. Mobile sits at the top because carrier addresses carry the most real human traffic and the least abused signal per address. Residential sits in the middle, believable as a home connection but more exposed if the pool is dirty. Data center sits at the bottom for account work, fine for some jobs but wearing its hosting origin on its sleeve. This ordering is not about speed or price, it is about how much an address looks like an ordinary person versus a machine. And that is the axis platforms actually score. How an address gets graded. The grading happens mostly through two things. First, the owner of the address, identified by its network number, which tells the platform whether it belongs to a home internet company, a mobile carrier, or a hosting business. Second, the reputation history attached to that specific address and its neighbors. Has it been seen attached to spam, to mass signups, to fraud on this platform, or on shared reputation lists the whole industry pulls from? A fresh mobile address in a big carrier pool starts with a clean, human-looking grade. A recycled data center address that 100 people abused last month starts in a hole. It is worth sitting on the carrier NAT point because it is the whole reason mobile proxies work. Carrier networks do not give every phone its own public address. There are not enough to go around. Instead, they funnel enormous numbers of real subscribers through a shared pool. That means one public address maps to thousands of genuine people checking messages, scrolling feeds, buying things. A platform that blocks that address to stop you also blocks a crowd of paying real users, which it will not do lightly. Your account is not standing alone on that address, it is hidden inside ordinary traffic, and that crowd is the protection. Speed and cost trade-offs. None of this is free, and the ladder runs backwards on price and speed. Data center is the fastest and the cheapest, which is exactly why it is so tempting and so often misused. Residential costs more and can be slower because it depends on someone's real home line. Mobile is usually the slowest and the priciest because you are effectively renting time on a real cellular connections. The right way to read this is not cheapest wins, it is match the cost to the risk. A sensitive account that would be expensive to lose deserves the address that looks most human, even if it is slower. Dedicated versus shared. There is a second axis that matters as much as the type. Is the proxy dedicated to you or shared with the crowd? A shared pool that hundreds of strangers hammer at once may already be flagged by the time your account uses it, poisoned by someone else's behavior on the same address. A dedicated proxy, one that only your account touches, means the only reputation that address carries is the one your account earns. For real account work, you want dedicated, so a neighbor's mistake never becomes your ban. Matching the proxy to the platform. Now the actual decision. A high-friction social or marketplace account, the kind that gets scrutinized hard and is expensive to lose, wants mobile or clean residential, dedicated, matched to its region. A lower-friction account might survive on good residential. And scraping genuinely public data, where you are reading pages rather than living inside a logged-in identity, is often fine on data center because there is no account trust to protect, only speed and volume to manage. The mistake is treating all four of those jobs as the same purchase. They are not. One account, one proxy. For anything with a login, the rule that saves the most accounts is simple. One account, one sticky, dedicated proxy, held steady. An address that stays consistent under a logged-in session looks like a person with a home connection. An address that rotates mid-session, jumping cities or countries between clicks, looks like exactly what it is. Rotation has real uses, but not underneath a single account that is supposed to be one settled human being. Keep the identity and its address paired and stable. Geography that agrees with itself. The last piece is making the location line up. The country the address resolves to has to match the account's claimed region, its language, its time zones, its phone number origins. A proxy in the right country under a profile in the wrong one, or the reverse, is a contradiction a platform reads instantly. The proxy is only half of the network identity. It has to agree with the device profile and the account details, or the mismatch itself becomes the flag, no matter how clean the address is on its own. The common mistake and the honest limit. The single most common error is buying the cheapest data center pool for a sensitive social account and then being surprised when it dies in a week. The address wore a server uniform into a room full of people and got noticed. But the reverse mistake exists too. Assuming the right proxy licenses careless behavior. It does not. The proxy removes one tail, the network tail. It does the network layer's job and nothing else. Behavior, device fingerprint, and account hygiene still have to hold up on their own. A mobile address under a reckless account that spams all day still gets caught because the behavior tells its own story on top of the clean network. The proxy buys you a believable home address, and then the account still has to live in it like a real person would. Think of the proxy type as the foundation the rest of the setup stands on, not a shield that excuses everything built above it. How a pool gets sourced, with residential especially, where the addresses come from matters as much as the label on them. A clean pool is built from real consumers who agreed to share their connection, and those addresses behave like the genuine homes they are. A shady pool is scraped together from devices whose owners never really consented, and those addresses often arrive already dirty, burned by whatever the last person pushed through them. The word residential on a listing tells you nothing about the sourcing. Two providers can both say residential and sell you completely different levels of risk. This is why the provider's reputation, not just the proxy type, is part of the purchase. Bandwidth and session length. Mobile and residential are usually metered. You pay for the data you push, and mobile in particular is not built for pulling huge volumes fast. That shapes how you use it. For a logged-in account doing ordinary human things, checking messages, posting, browsing, the data footprint is small, and mobile is perfect for pulling gigabytes of pages as quickly as possible. Mobile is the wrong tool, and the bill will tell you so. Matching the proxy to the job includes matching it to the traffic volume, not just the trust level. A heavy scraping job and a delicate social account want opposite ends of this. Sampai sembara pensita, checking a proxy before you trust it. Never assume a proxy is what the seller claims. Verify it. Before an account ever touches a new proxy, run it through a lookup that shows the address, its owner, its type, and its location, and check that all four match what you paid for and what the account needs. A proxy sold as clean residential that actually resolves to a hosting company is a data center address in a costume, and it will get your account flagged while you wonder why. A 2-minute check on every new proxy catches the mismatches before they cost you an account, rather than after. I run real Singapore mobile proxies myself on actual SIM cards and handsets, alongside residential where it fits, and data center only where there is no account to protect, because I wanted a stack matched to the job, instead of one cheap pool used for everything. Multi-account ops. Com has the full written breakdown of each proxy type, tested picks for social versus scraping, and honest reviews of the providers people actually run. No affiliate guesswork, just what I personally use on live accounts. If you want to match the proxy to the platform instead of guessing, that is the place to start. Subscribe for more honest, tested multi-account ops. Next time, setting up your first antidetect browser profile the right way, so the device layer finally matches the network story this proxy is telling.